right, he's the co-host of MS Now's Morning Joe Scarborough, and she's a former Republican Congresswoman from Georgia, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Okay, what does the panel make of Nicki Minaj bragging about getting a gold card from Trump after declaring herself his #1 fan? Are you a Nicki Minaj fan?
I like her music.
You do?
Yeah.
Look at that. See, people just didn't know you, Marjorie. They didn't know, really.
I have no idea.
I would think that you would have been listening to country music, which you might also.
I do like country
right.
music as
And
well.
Nicki Minaj.
Sure, why not?
She likes all kind of music.
That's
Yeah, I do
right.
too.
There you go.
Right. So what do you think? But I'm wondering if Nicki's fan base is going to be okay with this. You know.
No.
Yeah. Anyway.
Late-night host Bill Maher and MS Now's Joe Scarborough turned a conversation about Representative Ilhan Omar into a heated argument over patriotism and over whether criticizing America has somehow become Omar's full-time personality. The clash came after President Trump blasted Omar for constantly attacking the United States and suggested that the recent incident in which a man sprayed her with vinegar during a town hall may have been staged, an accusation Omar strongly denied. Maher wasn't buying every word of Trump's attack, but he admitted there was a kernel of truth hiding beneath all the usual noise. Because when it comes to Omar, America apparently provides the citizenship, the freedom, the platform, and the congressional seat while receiving an endless stream of complaints in return. Scarborough immediately rushed to her defense, insisting that once Omar became a citizen, she earned the same right to criticize America as anyone else. Fair enough. No one is trying to confiscate her First Amendment rights. Maher's point was far simpler. Having the right to complain does not automatically make every complaint intelligent, balanced, or immune from criticism. Yet Scarborough treated Maher's request for a little perspective as though he had proposed deporting half of Congress. And just like that, a basic question, why does Omar seem capable of finding everything wrong with America and almost nothing worth appreciating, turned into another televised lecture about citizenship, victimhood, and who is supposedly allowed to criticize whom. Let's watch Maher press the issue and Scarborough desperately try to turn criticism of Omar into an attack on America itself.
There is a kernel of truth in that somebody comes from a country like Somalia, and then it just seems like she does not have any perspective on the country that she joined here, and never seems to have anything good to say.
We don't think that way
about America.
The second she came here, my family's probably been here for 400 years. The day she came to America and raised her hand and took the oath, she's every bit as much of an American as you are, or me.
And I would say this of every other American. Have some perspective.
Scarborough's defense certainly sounds noble, but it also answers a question Maher never actually asked. Maher wasn't challenging Ilhan Omar's citizenship, questioning her oath, or suggesting that her passport came with an expiration date. He was asking why her commentary about America so often sounds like a never-ending list of charges from a prosecutor who has already decided the verdict. Of course, Omar is every bit as American as anyone else. That is precisely why her words can be challenged just like anyone else's. Equal citizenship guarantees an equal right to speak. It does not provide diplomatic immunity from criticism. Scarborough turns Maher's request for a little perspective into a dramatic defense of the Constitution, as though asking Omar to acknowledge one positive thing about America is only 2 steps away from canceling her citizenship. The First Amendment protects her right to criticize the country relentlessly. Conveniently, it also protects Maher's right to point out how relentlessly predictable that criticism has become. And Maher wasn't about to let Scarborough's constitutional detour bury the actual point. He brought the conversation straight back to Omar's perspective and to the uncomfortable comparison her defenders kept trying to avoid.
What I'm saying is, have some perspective about this country, not just her, but yes, I mean, if she's from a country like Somalia, which is a country you wouldn't live in. Right. Okay. Well, just be honest about it. Instead of, it just seems like it's always completely negative about this country.
Maher cuts through the applause and returns to the question Scarborough keeps sidestepping. No one is denying Omar's citizenship. The issue is whether someone can compare America unfavorably at every opportunity while refusing to acknowledge the obvious reality that Somalia is hardly the model society anyone is rushing to move to. That is what makes Maher's point so uncomfortable. He is not demanding silence, loyalty, oaths, or patriotic poetry. He is asking for perspective, the apparently radical idea that a country can be flawed without being worthless. Omar has every right to criticize America. Yet when the criticism becomes endlessly negative and completely detached from comparison, it starts sounding less like reform and more like a permanent grievance campaign. And Maher is simply asking the question her defenders would rather bury beneath applause. If America is always the villain, why is it still the destination? Scarborough, however, wasn't ready to concede the point. Instead, he flipped the entire argument back on Maher because apparently criticizing America only becomes offensive when Ilhan Omar does it, not when Republicans spend years announcing that the country is collapsing.
Donald Trump talks about how the American dream is dead. No, it's not. That's the American dream's not dead. We're stronger militarily. We're stronger economically. We're stronger culturally. We're stronger with soft power. We're stronger in every single way.
I don't know about that. Ask Gen Z.
Yeah.
They're not feeling so good.
But I don't see. Okay, so now you're talking badly about America. How dare you do that? I think it's a great country.
No, I said ask Gen Z.
Well, would Gen Z rather live in America or Somalia?
I'm just saying the American dream is harder to realize.
So, after all the applause, interruptions, and constitutional grandstanding, the real argument was never about whether Ilhan Omar has the right to criticize America. Of course she does. Maher never suggested otherwise. His point was far less dramatic and apparently far more difficult for her defenders to answer. Does criticism still deserve to be taken seriously when it becomes relentlessly negative, completely predictable, and almost allergic to perspective? Scarborough's response also exposed an uncomfortable contradiction. Republicans spent years describing America under Joe Biden as broken, humiliated, invaded, and practically moments away from collapse. Yet when Omar criticizes American policies, suddenly everyone starts demanding gratitude and loyalty certificates. Apparently, declaring the country a disaster is patriotic, provided the complaint comes from the correct political team. Maher was right to demand perspective, but Scarborough was right about one thing. Citizenship does not come in different classes. Omar is free to criticize America, just as Maher is free to challenge the bitterness, exaggeration, and identity politics theater behind some of that criticism. That is what free speech actually looks like. Not immunity from criticism, not mandatory applause, and certainly not pretending every political complaint is profound simply because it was delivered with moral outrage. America can be flawed without being worthless, and it can be defended without pretending Washington is competent. Somehow, that simple idea managed to produce one of the most revealing arguments of the entire show.